What is up, guys? Welcome to a brand new video. So a few days ago I posted a video about Rune's VAYNE and why that's so good, but I stalk a lot for those videos, like to check stuff, research things, and there was one thing that I found, especially in Korea. If you enjoy this, throw it a like, dislike it if you don't, but let me know what champion you want me to stalk next and do a video about. So VAYNE has got a lot of buffs recently, by the way. That's why she's been played more and more, but the main one, the bonus damage on her Q was increased to 70% AD at rank 5. Koreans actually like maxing their Q anyway, even before this, because it's more damage for a quick trade, you reposition more, so more dukes, and it's just better for the lane phase, to be honest. Like, you can fight more or pressure more or just outplay more. Anyway, so I think Gosu did this build and really liked it, but Korea has been doing it for a while now and they are literally obsessed with this. A really large number of Master or Challenger VAYNE players are doing this now, like SKT T1 Bang, their AD carry does this, a VAYNE main with over 1,000 games in Diamond 2 over there has swapped to this, like so many other VAYNE players have swapped as well. They've kind of left the Blade of the Ring King build behind, which is weird by the way, because that's always been the go-to build over there, like Bork, Phantom Dancer, and then they try and outplay people. So the build itself revolves around Shiv and Infinity Edge basically, but there's a bit more to it, I guess. Like, so normally it is a Q max, like you can go other stuff if you want to, but it's more about the burst than anything else. The two options are to rush a Shiv outright and just get it straight away, or a BF sword or pickaxe into Shiv. So Shiv is more of an early power spike once completed, but BF sword first would be better until the Shiv is actually finished, if that makes sense. It depends what you want to do really. Like, if you want to fight straight away as soon as possible, then the AD part is probably going to be a little bit better. Now after that we jump into our Infinity Edge, and this is really where it starts to get super fun. But next up, most people get a Phantom Dancer or a QSS if they need that. Now after those three items, by the way, you have 80% crit now, plus the Infinity Edge bonus crit damage, and remember your Shiv can crit. This is why they love it so much. The Shiv damage is 50 to 120 to 5 nearby units, but that damage is able to crit. So with 80% plus Infinity Edge, it is ridiculous. The burst for this build is nuts. So you max your Q, right? That's 70% AD bonus damage. Your Shiv can crit, the Q, the tumble can crit, the Infinity AD you get, plus the crit damage. It's just off the charts. The last couple of items really vary though. So Bang, for example, from SKT, he went with a Mercurial Scimitar, so the upgraded QSS, and a Last Whisper. A quick thing, by the way, Last Whisper actually isn't bad in this VAYNE build because you're relying on crits for damage as well as your W. If you build heavy attack speed or on hit, there's not much point getting one because your W is true damage, but the crits will do a lot more with a Last Whisper because they're physical. Mercurial is normally always in there just because Koreans love the item anyway. It's kind of hard to judge whether it's actually needed or not, I guess, because they literally buy it to counter any form of crowd control, especially on VAYNE, but it does suit the build. AD, lifesteal, and the active. Bloodthirster or Blade is more lifesteal if they don't need the QSS as well. Like, Bloodthirster is bigger crits and a shield, which is useful, plus the highest percentage of lifesteal. That's the most common after Mercurial. Blade of the Ring King is kind of like attack speed overkill, but it's very good versus tanks. I've only seen a few people get this, and they normally get it instead of a Phantom Dancer, which is kind of weird for me at least. More of Mortius is another option too, actually, that's quite popular. Double defense is normally like a big no on AD carries, but VAYNE has the damage needed with a W, and if they don't have like huge tanks, you don't really need a Last Whisper either. Plus remember as well, like, it does give you AD, lifesteal when the shield proc, so overall it's a pretty decent item really in this build. So here are a few examples though, if that was a little bit complicated, like with everything thrown together, what it would most commonly look like. So Shiv, Infinity Edge, and Phantom Dancer are the core most of the time. So the build one would be those three, then Mercurial and Last Whisper. That's against crowd control and heavy tanks, so like 2 armor items at least, probably 3 on a tank. Build 2 would be Shiv, Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, Mercurial, and Bloodthirster. This would be crowd control but no huge tanks. It's kind of lifesteal overkill really because you have Mercurial, Bloodthirster, and Warlords, but it's still just like you never die. Build 3 would be Shiv, Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, Bloodthirster, and then more of Mortius. No crowd control, but they have some AP burst damage. Really big crits with this though after you get the first 4 items. Now by the way, almost all of these, as we said, are with Warlord's Bloodlust. You don't need the extra damage from Fervor, and this doesn't get lifesteal until 4th, which is very late to have none. Warlords kind of covers that up really. Runes would be standard mostly, AD reds, armor yellows, magic resist blues, and attack speed quinch. You can also throw some attack speed in your blues if your balls are big enough. One thing I've been trying recently is Storm Rage's Surge actually with this, because of the the crit and the Shiv damage and stuff is so big of the burst at the very start. It means you actually proc Storm Rages and you're even harder to catch, so you do miss the lifesteal with from Warlords. Now the whole point of this build though is the burst, as we just said. The wave clear is really nice with your Shiv. It helps her laning actually because it's hard to push VAYNE in anymore. Like, she won't lose anything under tower, or you can't really take her tower. Plus with the Q damage actually and your ultimate, your all-ins are also very good. Like, you can kill people with just a Shiv for sure. Now if we just take the core of this build and look at that, this will explain why it works. So in a proper fight, it's going to be like the Q bonus damage, the ultimate bonus AD, the Shiv bonus damage, 80% crit, 80% attack speed, 70 AD, increased crit damage, and plus as well well, Shiv bonus damage can crit and the Q tumble can crit. Now that sounds pretty legit already, right? But that's without the lifesteal from Warlords. And oh, as well, don't forget, like, you have your silver bolts with 80% attack speed like a normal Vayne build. What we're doing is we're giving us a same damage champion with a W to shred, attack speed to do that better, and a burst to rip through squishy targets. Vayne has kind of always had this problem where she can melt tanks, but like she can't really kill people fast enough normally, like burst champions, right? Your damage is mad over 5 seconds or 10 seconds, but theirs is blown in 2 seconds, for example. One Q crit with a Shiv crit as well would probably do over 1,000 damage, honestly, to a mid laner easily, so that's nasty. Like, Vayne with burst is very hard to play against. You can also throw in a Triforce late game with this if you want to do that. It makes you a bit tankier, it's harder to deal with, but the sheen is crazy. Now you're going to have the Q crit, the bonus AD, the Shiv crit, normal AD, and the sheen bonus damage with 1 hit. Like, I think you get the idea of how nuts that would be. By the way, I do actually still think the Runes build is very good for Vayne. You're doing this stuff anyway, but you can heal and crit with 3 targets at once. It's more of a team fight build though if you're ahead. This is just an earlier power spike and way more of a ham carry yourself, like solo carry build. 1v1 is really good. In a team fight, it's really good. It just melts whoever you're going to go after, whether they are a tank or a carry. The downsides really are you have no lifesteal with this, so until 4th item instead of 1st. It takes a bit of time to adjust really because you can't just like go nuts and heal back up. You do attack slower than normal as well until your 3rd item. Normally it's going to be like 2 attack speed items to start with. It sounds weird, but actually it does take a little bit of time to get used to a different feel of her, I guess. You'll probably cancel a few attacks to actually start with because you're used to attacking faster. It is also quite expensive. Infinity Edge is more expensive than most items you get normally. So yes, Shiv is a good power spike, but then you kind of wait for your 2nd item a bit longer than normal. The plus sides though, you get more wave clear than the Blade or the Phantom Dancer. 80% crit is insane. It is so good, and it does give her a lot of burst. 1 item spike is really still good as well. Like, Shiv provides a lot of damage, not as much defensive capabilities as like a Bork, for example, but even just like tumble in with the Shiv and the tumble damage, 1 auto and then leave is a really good trade. I know I've made a few Vayne videos recently. I'm not gonna like make them all the time, but 1, I love the champion and she's finally getting better and I kind of wait to talk about it. 2, this stuff is interesting for me, like seeing how a new build comes in and covers up issues a champion has, I guess. And I know Vayne is popular and you guys are going to want the best build out there, so I feel like if I find it, I want to show you guys. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, but for now, let's go to the robots.